That was just the entire trailer for Inescapable. Well, pretty much the entire trailer, anyways. I didn't really put the date it's coming out. I'm gonna add that to the end of the video. Inescapable was like a game that I just sort of like, randomly came across, like a trailer, like the trailer I just randomly came across. And I just wanted to make like a short little video on it, like, give my thoughts on it. And, I did like a little bit of background research into like the game and like the company who made it, itself. So I could like, make this small little video and, basically just give my thoughts on it. I mean, it's like another death game visual novel sort of thing. So it's like, right up my alley. So, first, let's talk about the storyline itself. I got this off the official website itself, and I'll put the link in the description below. So, the basic story synopsis is that the story is about human nature and how far people will go for social clout and their desires, and how much further it will go when they have permission to break the rules. Which is admittedly a pretty interesting synopsis, to me. Like, right now, I'm kind of getting a vibe that it could be like a it's probably not like a TV show, like a game show, sort of like death game sort of thing. But it seems more like to me they're probably forced into it and like maybe the outside world's watching it or something. I'm not completely sure myself. But it's what, it's how it's coming across to me. Next, let's talk about some of the characters. Which, let me just say, admittedly, this is quite the colorful cast of characters. Our protagonist, Harrison Taylor, kind of gives me like, a sort of like Junpei vibe, but that's mostly because of the flannel. But he also gives me an almost, sort of like geeky kind of character vibe, sort of like, you know, a weird combination of like Simon from Head as Code, if you've ever, seen my live streams of that. And maybe a little bit of like, having a little bit of Hajime sprinkled in there as well from Danganronpa. Then this girl who kind of gives me a weird Chiaki Nanami vibe from Danganronpa, as well as like, mixed with a little bit of June from Zero Escape. I say June because of like, the scarf mostly. And their quote, as you can see here, is if we try working it out together, which is, kind of really solidifies like a very, like a mediator, like someone who's trying to keep the group together sort of character. Then there's this guy who's kind of giving me like a dude bro kind of vibe. Like, those kinds of like, dude bro characters like Yellow from Neon White, if you've ever seen my live streams. I'm comparing characters to like, stuff that you can probably see, in my other videos or live streams. And like, man, I hope they also kidnapped my bike, or I hope they also didn't kidnap my bike. I mean, it seems like, I believe the quote was, they also kidnapped my bike. Like, he's just giving me a sort of, like, for lack of better terms, himbo sort of vibe. Like, a himbo bro kind of character. Then we got, like, these duo of characters where the guy on the left, I'm assuming his quote is on the top left right there. Um, for I am the mightiest, kind of gives me, like, a Gundam Tanaka kind of vibe from Danganronpa. And to the right, that girl, like, to me, just looks like Sombra from Overwatch. Like, for real, like, from this angle... it's kind of uncanny, really. Like, to me, it's just mostly just the hair. Then we got this guy who kind of gives me like a brute force, kind of maybe even quick to anger kind of guy. Then this sort of like tomboy-esque character. Then we kind of got this another duo of characters, which on the left kind of reminds me, like, I want to say like it's like a brighter Celestia Ludenberg kind of character. Or maybe like a Sonia Nevermind type character. Once again, both of those characters are from Danganronpa, if you're curious. And then the character on the right just reminds me of Hiyoko Seionji from Danganronpa as well. But also the I will sue you quote just kind of reminds me of Superbia from Birth Me Code. And honestly, she's probably like a mean girl, maybe like rich girl kind of personality. Then we got like another duo of characters, which I'm assuming that the top quote on the up top left that we see belongs to the character on the left, which, she gives me a party girl sort of vibe, if that's her quote. And then like the one that's, going from like going to the top right corner where it's like probability of escape has been decreased by 15%. like it tells me that the character on the right is probably like a very calculative, smarter kind of character sort of thing. But like, from the expressions here, it just feels like it's almost reversed, but I could be wrong, and it could be just, just a bad choice of like sprites. But yeah, that's basically my thought on the characters. Like, once again, a very colorful cast of characters. Like, for me, when I play a death game, don't get me wrong, when I played Zero Escape, the plot itself, like the storyline and how it went, like, was very interesting. I really like the morphogenetic field. I like how they tackled shifting. ZTD with, like, the different memories, it was pretty interesting as well. And I like how they kind of go, like, very much, like, very deep into like the shifting, like they are pretty much immediately talking about it, although I wish it was developed better for like the characters we actually play as who aren't in the know versus the characters who are in the know. But Danganronpa will always kind of be like the top one for me, like for death game video games that I've played so far, because of like the characters, how they're characterized, like most of the characters, I mean, but like a lot of them are like memorable with memorable designs, and like sometimes like they really are like distinct from one another, despite there being like 16 of them in like each game, essentially like 16 main ones. And then there's still like pretty distinct from like the other characters that are in the series, not just in the same game as them. So like I really like Danganronpa's characterization and like Zero Escape's plotline, if that makes any sense. Honestly, with my thoughts on this game, it's kind of given me like a combination, like a sort of thing with like both Danganronpa and Zero Escape, which has me hyped for this game and why I'm making a video about it. Like my hopes for this game is like it actually ends up really good. I also took some screenshots from the trailer, like this one where Mia's like, "Look, hairy tits," and just roasting our main character. But in all seriousness, though, like it looks pretty good. Like maybe it's like sort of free roam or like top down, where we can go from place to place, and once again has that 2.5D vibe that Danganronpa has. And it seems like you can like sort of free roam and like talk with the different characters. It might be like mostly free time event sort of things. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to do anything yourselves or like mess with the game yourselves necessarily, but like it looks really cool once again, and the CGs are like really nice looking as well. Now, what I'm trying to piece together is like it seems like another killing game type game sort of thing where there are like no rules, which I'm not sure how to feel about that. Like some of the intrigue that Danganronpa has is like trying to see how the characters like get around the rules or try to use the rules to their advantage. But like the no rules thing also has its own intrigue. Like there is no official like class trial or anything like that. So basically, it's kind of more like Among Us or like Werewolf, where you basically have to like maybe point out who you believe like the killer is, or like whoever messed something up royally, basically, and you could get like the wrong person sort of thing, and then there would be that other person who's just wandering around like messing stuff up. It also gives me like some like, have you ever seen the Danganronpa beta Distrust, where the original theme was basically trust and distrusting people, something that was sort of like brought into in Virtue's Last Reward for Zero Escape with like the ally betray prisoner's dilemma sort of thing. Like at the end of the trailer, near the end of the trailer, we get the "can you trust them" and the "can you be trusted" lines, which once again gives me like a heavy trust distrust sort of system, which just honestly makes me think that there could be like multiple endings and all sorts of things, adding like a lot more replayability. I'm not sure if it's going to be like Zero Escape, where once again there's like a golden ending where you have to unlock certain things and other endings in order to get like the one true ending, or if you have to like or if it's going to be like a more linear story like Danganronpa. But like honestly, either way, it's so far like it still has me hooked. Like it has its own intrigue, it has its own story. It you could feel the inspiration that the story might have like from Danganronpa, Zero Escape, and other death games like that, while also still kind of being its entirely like a unique thing. The companies itself, that you see at like the beginning of the trailer, Dreamloop Games and ASCII's Games, I believe. I believe I played one of ASCII's games, and I'm still playing it, which I believe it's called Fatal 12. I think Fatal 12 was, like, made by them. So it's like, clearly, so far, they, have a good, you know, storytelling with, like, death game genre. And the last time when these two companies worked together was when they made Stardust Galaxy Warriors, which is the four-player co-op action shooter game. I've never played it myself, but I've googled it and I've checked it out. I've even seen the trailer, it looks good. And the games themselves have moderately good reviews, as you can see here. An 8 out of 10, 79% on OpenCritic. Not too bad. So these people have a lot of experience in making good games. So, it has me excited for when this game eventually comes out. I even have a quote from the CEO, Johnny Lapalinian. I butchered his name. We've spent the last few years honing our skills and storing up a lot of creative energy for Inescapable. Now, with Inescapable in development, we're taking the first steps towards showing the world that we can make great games with heart and teeth. Which, keeps, getting me more hyped into this game. Anyways, this is kind of a basic synopsis of what they have on the website and all the information I could find off the internet, as well as information I can gather from just watching the trailer alone and the description of the trailer itself. If you want to, if you're really interested in this game, go ahead and check it out. Check out the trailer in the description below and the official website. The game itself is coming 2023, and I do not think we have an official date of when in 2023. But it's also coming out on basically every console, from the PlayStation to Nintendo Switch to Xbox to Steam, so basically you could play this anywhere. I have not double checked yet if they, put it up on Steam so you can wishlist this, so you might want to, make yourself a note of it if you're interested. Anyways, that's all I really wanted to talk about with this game. I'm very excited. I really have high hopes for this game, and I really hope it's good. I'm pretty much going to stream this game as soon as it gets out, or as soon as I possibly can, depending on, what series I'm on. But yeah, other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.